I mean, you have to think about it like movies and some of the TV shows. If you just sit there and follow the investigators around and they're sitting there for 3 hours just waiting on a light to blink or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you never know.
When you put it like that,
Yeah.
that sounds really...
You know what I mean? Like, you cannot show that on a TV show. Somebody sitting
Right.
there. Is anyone here? Is it,
Yeah.
for 3 hours waiting on finally you get an answer and you're like, okay, we got it, because it's clipped and it's edited. And, some people are like, oh, it's all fake, I see strings, this person's hidden. And I guess, it's really comes down to your own personal feelings and your own judgment about that. Because if it's a skeptic, can you change their mind?
Right.
Even if you have somebody, a full body apparition comes and walks up to them and serves them coffee. Hello everybody, and my name is Misti Gaither, and welcome to Quest, a journey into true crime and paranormal. I am here with two individuals that are really into the paranormal, and not only that, they love adventure.
We do.
And like finding out about things that, just don't take people's word for it. You want to find out yourself. I have Danelle Cloutier here with Stranger Than Usual podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Hello.
Okay. And then I have Megan Toutant.
Toutant, yep.
Pretty close.
Pretty good.
With the Curious Crypt, and y'all have joined together to do a collaboration called the Curious Crypt.
You got it.
Yep, that's it.
I like that. So let me ask you this. Let's go from the beginning and start. What really interests you in the paranormal? Like, was it an experience, or did you just, maybe watch a show on TV and get kind of hooked? What happened?
I've always been a queerdo. When I was a kid, I'd go to the library and take out books about ghosts and aliens. And I think it's partially because I grew up with my mom telling me stories about experiences she has had. Apparently the first house that I lived in was haunted, and she said like the TVs would turn on by themselves. She would hear people whispering her name at night, and I've always been fascinated just by people's stories about the paranormal, like this idea that there might be something beyond what we think we know, and also just that so many rational people have these experiences that they cannot explain. And I've always been a really curious person and someone who's into exploring and adventure and kind of this idea of like magic and what is beyond what we know. Been watching paranormal shows for decades now, and that's kind of how it got started for me.
And then for me, like, I grew up part-time going to my bio dad's house. His house was definitely haunted. And I was terrified. Everybody else that lived there was used to it. Because they lived there. I would only go there every second weekend, so I was always laying awake at night like, what's gonna happen? I've always been nerdy, so I've always been interested in stuff like that. But what really got me really into it is that I experienced sleep paralysis, which I started experiencing when I was about 15, and it feels so supernatural. I am very familiar with the medical explanation, and definitely think that the medical explanation plays a huge role, but it really feels like there's something more. And I decided that I wanted to kind of look more into the cultural and spiritual beliefs surrounding sleep paralysis, and it led me down a rabbit hole to folklore and the paranormal, and it's just become a passion. It makes the world more colorful.
I totally agree, and you're right, because, I have a passion, I told you that, about the paranormal, anything about paranormal and true crime, and it's just, like, once you get started and you really make that commitment that you're going to learn all you can about it,
Mm-hmm.
You just, it kind of gets you, it takes a hold of you. Now, have you had any personal experiences?
I've definitely had some experiences like that I can't explain. My other friend Megan, my other longtime friend named Megan, we would hang out like every day after school and go to my house, and we both had very strange experiences there. One time we were home alone and we were walking upstairs to my room and I heard people whispering, and I kind of stopped, and it didn't seem like she noticed anything, so I was like, okay, it might just be my imagination. And then later when we were walking downstairs, she heard it too, and we both stopped and just looked at each other and we were like, what is that? Like, there are people talking inside my house, but we were still home alone. And then another time in my house, it sounded like the treadmill had fallen over. Again, we were home alone, and the sound came from the basement. And we got so scared that we ran out of the house, and my brother and his friend happened to be walking down the street, and we like ran up to them and we were like, oh my gosh, we just heard something, like there's something inside the house. And then we all went in and like grabbed knives and then searched the house, and nothing was out of place, like nothing had fallen over, there was no one else in the house. And then this other time, my parents had been missing their video camera for like months. And one day I went into my parents' room and there it was, just sitting right on their dresser. And I went to my mom and I was like, hey, you found your video camera? And she was like, no, neither has Dad. Like, it's been gone this whole time. And it just like suddenly appeared again. So just kind of stuff like that, just things I can't explain. And
would you say that you have a gift, or like maybe either like a psychic, or do you have that in your family, or maybe medium, or you have some empathic or sensitive gifts or anything, or you are just drawn to it?
I feel like Megan definitely has some kind of, like, you have really good intuition.
I have intuition. I'm not sure.
You're gonna be humble, so let me talk for you.
Okay, yes. Talk for Megan, please, so we can get all the story.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
No, I think Megan is able to read people really quickly. And while we've been in New Orleans, we've done some Estes method sessions, and Megan has been able to really, like, I think, open up and kind of connect and really like get some good material. So I don't know, I feel like you do have some abilities that I think you're growing.
Yeah. And I think everybody has abilities, and I think that I just in the past few years have started, actually it's like all to do with my own confidence just as a person too has grown, and just kind of started believing that I am powerful. And in doing that, I feel like it helps me to be more open. But I mean, also always having believed in the supernatural and paranormal, you do always, maybe not everybody, but I feel like people who are like us, who are pretty interested in it, we always kind of have this eye open for it. So maybe we just notice it a little bit more.
Well, I like that theory, and I totally agree with that. You know, paranormal has become more popular, you know, the past few years than ever. I mean, used to it to just be Hans Holzer walking around, you know, and that would be about it, or Ed and Lorraine Warren. Mm-hmm. And now it's like everybody who hears a squeak in the floor, they want to be paranormal investigators. Mm-hmm. And I just, you know, I appreciate people wanting to be a part of the field.
Yeah.
But I think that the problem is, just because that you're wanting to be a part of something, you need to respect it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, because you don't want it tainted.
No.
You know, because, you know, they were people that, you know, they had feelings, and I always believe that how you were in life is how that you're going to be in death. And you should always treat, you know, the spirits with respect.
Absolutely. Know? And I think we have, like, you know, maybe our goal, whether we've said it specifically this way or not, but is really about not just experiencing a ghost, but getting to know who the person was. Yeah. And Danelle is really interested in history,
Yes.
and I'm interested in it as well. Definitely not wanting to go into any spaces and re-traumatize people that are no longer alive. I think that's something to bear in mind too. You don't want to go into a space and make things worse for the spirits that are there. You want to, if anything, make it better.
I agree with that. When you pass away, you want to be at peace. And I do have some, kind of on the fence, especially, if you take, for instance, Lizzie Borden. Okay. They have a bed and breakfast there, and I'm not talking negative about anybody at Lizzie Borden's house. But it's just like, you have tours anywhere. You have tours every day. And, you have people coming in and wanting to investigate or call up the spirit of whomever is there. And, is that good? I'm not saying it's good or bad, but is that being disrespectful and maybe kind of limit
Yeah.
the exposure that the spirits have?
I think that there's this balance that we need to have as investigators. A part of it is selfish. We want to experience something, and like I don't think that many investigators could say that they never wanted to experience something and see it for themselves. But I think there's a balance to it of allowing yourself to investigate in that way. But again, trying to be respectful. A cool part of us coming to New Orleans is we've really been able to go to a lot of places that are kind of off the beaten path, that other people haven't investigated.
Now, I really appreciate, how much that you enjoy history. And I mean, you've been to Paris, the catacombs, and like, which would be totally cool, to go and explore and just to be in Paris, even if I didn't go to the catacombs, but of course I would because that's what I do.
Yeah.
And, I was interviewing, I don't know if you know Sarah Lemos. She was on the Ghost of Morgan City and the Ghost Town Terror, and she's also a psychic medium. Anyway, I was interviewing her. She was on the show last week, and the history, I think, kind of is what draws a lot of people into the paranormal, because I think that once you're looking for that link, you're looking for that answer, like maybe like a cold case or unsolved or did it really happen that way, and you're wanting to make that link to the person and get that evidence that says yes it was, or yes this person killed me, or I don't know that word, or whatever it is that I think sometimes, I mean, is it for you, is that your goal, or you just want to merge the two?
So I went to school for journalism and audio engineering, and part of the reason why I got into journalism was to be able to give a voice to marginalized people. And like, I'm queer and non-binary, so that was part of my appeal, like kind of saying like I didn't really grow up seeing myself in media and wanting to offer that representation. But I feel like it's kind of like my interest in history also comes from this place of, we know history from a very like colonial lens, of like the people in power, and kind of like being able to maybe understand historical and cultural events and places from maybe more of like a marginalized perspective. And so like part of my interest of like giving a voice to like living people, it's parallel to kind of like giving a voice to people who have passed, and maybe this interest in kind of filling in the blanks, or just kind of rewriting history in a way.
You bring up a valid point about representation in the paranormal field with queer LGBTQ plus. Because if you turn on the TV, it's really not very much going on.
Yeah.
I mean, we have Adam Berry in he was in Ghost Hunters and then Kindred Spirits, but to my knowledge, about it. In the like as far as the mainstream shows and things, and I wonder what it is. That's, is it like maybe it's just not interesting to some people, or is it just, I don't know. I think that's a valid point to bring up, because we should have more people in the field.
I have
you know?
thoughts on this.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that in media in general, it's very, and has been for a very long time, very straight and whitewashed.
Mhm.
And I think that actually, I think social media has had a huge part to play in spreading knowledge about marginalized communities, and the TV channels that are picking up and choosing whoever chooses who's going to be on what shows, they don't get to pick that for who picks up social media. We get to put ourselves out there as authentic as we are as queer people, and people like it. And so I just kind of think that it's not that only straight white dudes are interested
Oh,
in the
right, yeah.
paranormal, but I think that they're just the ones who got the roles, and things are slowly changing and getting better, and we're seeing more representation, and social media I think does have a big part to play in that.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, like, also, if we have more representation in, like, ghost hunters, does that mean, I don't know, like, I guess what I'm wondering is, would people in the afterlife connect with seeing like a wide, like more diversity of investigators, like can that draw out different experiences? That's something that I'm really curious about too.
Yeah, because I mean, if someone isn't comfortable, it could really bring out some results.
Yeah.
If they're not comfortable, or some may not care, because, like I said, in life they are in death, and that's just something I guess that we need to work on, and to continue to research.
On the one hand, is like you said, like there could be someone that passed away and is in the afterlife that was not comfortable with queer people and would have maybe more of like a negative reaction or something. But you could also come across someone that passed away who was queer, and they recognize something of themselves in us and would feel more comfortable to come through for us. So I think having diversity is so important, because the people who passed away are diverse. And yeah, I can see how they would have maybe more discomfort or more comfort depending on who is there investigating.
Now, speaking of investigating, y'all are here in New Orleans. Your first time here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, that's pretty cool.
love it here. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Isn't it great? I mean, you can just, like in New Orleans, especially the French Quarter, you can just walk like half a block, and I mean, and people say that New Orleans, once it gets in your heart, it just never leaves you. And I truly believe that, because I have a great love for our city, and we can always point out what's bad about it or this and this, but it's a really beautiful and spiritual place, and I'm proud to be here.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate y'all coming to New Orleans and experiencing, the food, the culture, the everything. Do y'all mind telling me some places y'all may have investigated, or?
We went to the Phoenix, which is a gay bar near the French Quarter, and there have been reports there of, well, people have seen quite a few different things there.
No doubt.
Yeah. There's been reports of children, ghosts on the second floor. There's been reports of also queer people who passed away. That was a safe space for them, so some of the patrons there will see friends of theirs or feel that that friend is there. And we had some really cool experiences with one of those patrons whose friend did pass, and it was, yeah, it's beautiful to see a queer place being a safe space even in the afterlife.
Yeah.
Totally.
That
And
is
then
cool.
that same patron, we went to investigate his house
Oh.
because there was a woman who was brutally stabbed 17 times and died in his house, and then one of his friends passed away in the house as well. And lots of his friends at the bar were like, you got to go to his house, like it is an experience. So he graciously let us come over.
That is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I just love the friendliness of the city.
Yeah, I was so nervous, going into the Phoenix, and just immediately we have friends there, and they're such good people. but yeah, they all said like, I won't sleep over at his house. I won't sleep in that room. He was telling us he's had people run out screaming from his house. And then he's like, so come over. I'm like, okay.
Hey, this sounds like our kind of place.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it's really cool how New Orleans appreciates the spirits. We're not ashamed of them. We don't try to, hide them or we want to talk about them. We feel like they're part of the family or they're part of our city, because we couldn't be what we are without them. So I think that's really cool how you just go into a bar. Sounds like a joke, but you go into a bar and, you just strike up a conversation. And then next thing you know, you're at someone's home investigating, and that's beautiful. I think that's really cool. And so you think, well, the paranormal, it kind of brings people together.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're right. And so I like that. So any other places or?
Well, tonight we're going to the Haunted Hotel.
Y'all know I love that.
And we're going to go to Destrehan as well. I'm not sure exactly what our plan is for Destrehan, but we are going there regardless, and it'll be very interesting. We'll take the tour and see what the vibes are there.
Now, do y'all use a lot of equipment, or do you rely more on like feelings, or I mean, what is y'all's method of investigation?
Well, both, I'd say. I'm definitely someone who's into just like equipment, being like having, a background in like audio engineering and all that. I just like gear.
Well, let me say, probably from your background, you probably are just wonderful listening for EVPs.
Right.
Me, I'm like, oh, that sounded, that wasn't it, and probably, because you've been educated and that's what you do, you would be really cool, like to listen to all that. That would be cool.
Yeah. I'm always recording at least audio.
Yeah.
Hey, you never know. You might need it later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know, we also have, we have a Ouija board that we're going to bring with us tonight, and we use tarot cards at the house that we went to, because there was kind of little known about the potential spirits in the house, and so we just wanted to see what came up from the tarot cards. But also the room that we went into in the guy's house, James's house, that had a vibe.
Yeah, and everyone told us, they were like, you'll know when you walk in. And we're healthy skeptics. We don't hear the floor creak and go, oh, it's a ghost.
Right.
So I think we were like, are they just saying that? We don't know. We went in, and the room definitely was colder than every other room in the house. Like, the room across the hall was so much warmer. That room was so cold. And the air felt thick. It felt ominous, stagnant, just
our kind of
strange.
room.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. And immediately I had anxiety when we went in.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to investigating with y'all tonight. After the show, we're going in, do what investigators do, investigate. And we're, of course, the Haunted Hotel, and where the Axeman allegedly stayed while he went on his rampage. And you brought a valid point that I didn't even think about. Today is March the 13th, and so it's 105 years, you said? 105 years to the day when he sent the first letter to the newspaper.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I don't believe that there are coincidences.
I know. I have
I don't.
goosebumps right now.
Yeah.
When you said that.
Yeah.
Me too. I got
I remember, after I had chatted with you, I was looking on the computer, kind of just getting a vibe for the hotel, reading the little blurb about that. And, I would remember thinking, I cannot wait to tell Danelle this. And I actually completely forgot. I couldn't wait to see the reaction. And then today, Danelle was like, oh, I'm just going to look stuff up. And it's a very strange coincidence, and it's probably not a coincidence.
Right. Quest, a journey into true crime and the paranormal, is sponsored by the following. Chef Ron's Gumbo Stop, right in Metairie. If you want award-winning gumbo, well, you need to go to an award-winning chef, Chef Ron, and has the best gumbo and just so many different things on his menu: jambalaya, fried chicken, po' boys. Believe me, you won't leave there hungry because it's really a great place to eat. We are also sponsored by the Haunted Hotel on Ursulines. And if you would like to go and stay at a haunted place, go to hauntedhotelnola.com and book your room. And believe me, you will not be disappointed. Because I have personally stayed there a few times overnight, and yeah, it's definitely haunted. Make sure you mark your calendars for March the 23rd. New Iberia is having their very own Paracon. It's called Cajun Country Paracon. We are also a sponsor of their Paracon, and you'll be able to come, and we'll be up there. We'll have a table. They have a lot of big name paranormal people in the paranormal field, paranormal stars, celebrities. You really won't want to miss that. You can go on to Eventbrite and get they have a few VIP tickets left, and that way you can go on to a investigation that night with a paranormal celebrity. So I'm really looking forward to that. And also, Louisiana Pizza Kitchen Uptown, every Wednesday is Friends and Family Night. My favorite is all adult beverages are half off, even bottles of wine. So, I mean, it's a Carrollton and St. Charles. You don't want to miss it. It's a wonderful place. They're even open on Sundays and have mimosas and Bloody Marys. So be sure to check out Louisiana Pizza Kitchen Uptown. And Area 51 Gallery, Rocket, he makes these pins. He can make your business merch, anything that you need, something for your crew, your business. Be sure to reach out to Rocket at Area 51 Gallery. You were talking about the Estes method.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've done that several times on investigations, and I really think that it is a good thing, and it's well, I think it started like in 2016 was when was really first used, that it began. And since then, I noticed on a lot of the shows that they use that. Now, like you were saying, y'all use that a lot in your investigations.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what else? Is there any kind of methods or things that y'all do that would be like that?
Like we have a REM pod and a mal meter.
Mm-hmm.
We have EMF meters. So I think it depends on the space, and we just kind of see how we feel, what we want to start with. We will have the REM pod on the entire time. Definitely we've seemed to be getting good results from SDs.
Yeah, that, and I'd say at the Phoenix bar, like it was actually the person we were interviewing, like the patron, about his experiences there, which was like seemed to be triggering
The activity.
the Mel meter and the activity. So sometimes even like people can be the conduits for that. So I think it's really just about, I think we just go with our gut about what to start with, and then, you know, if the activity unravels, then we'll keep going with it. Of course, yeah, I like to record the audio for everything and review. But yeah, we've had a lot of luck with the Estes method.
Is there a place that you haven't investigated that's like on your, well, y'all are younger, but your bucket list or whatever, you know, that you like, this is where I want to go?
The Conjuring House would be amazing.
Mine's the same one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Guess we're going.
Besties.
Right. Oh, how cool. Call me when y'all go, and that would be fun. Mine's the Villisca Axe Murder House.
Yeah. Well, I live in Minneapolis, so it's not too far of a
Yeah.
trip. I'd love to go there.
I'd love to go there too, but that one definitely gives me a bit more of the creeps than any other one, which is also exciting, but it's definitely one that I'm probably, if we sleep there, I will not sleep.
Definitely, because, you know, you think, well, 8 people got killed in the home.
Yeah.
And there's got to be at least one of them, you know,
Right.
something that's called, and even the killer, I think, you know, he kind of comes in and out. But the Conjuring House, of course, I mean, that is amazing. And I've watched so many shows, and of course the movie, you know, and, you know, they go and it's never disappointed.
Yeah.
You know, it's always, you know, and there's some kind of, maybe some, I don't know, controversy is the right word, but with the Bathsheba thing, was she really real? Or I mean, she was real, but she really didn't live in the house,
yeah.
and it was in the movie. And I mean, you have to think about it like movies and some of the TV shows. Do you watch it for entertainment? You if you just sit there, like and follow the investigators around if it's a show and they're sitting there for 3 hours just waiting on a light to blink or you know what I'm saying, like you never know
When you put it like that,
Yeah.
it sounds really hilarious.
That's why we go in and try to be very charming at the same time so we can be part of the entertainment.
right. And so you know what I mean, like you cannot show that on a TV show, somebody sitting
Right.
there, is anyone here? Is it,
Yeah.
for 3 hours waiting on finally you get an answer and you're like, okay, we got it, because it's clipped and it's edited. And, some people are like, oh, it's all fake. I see strings, this person's hidden and blah, 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 blah. I guess, it's really, comes down to your own personal feelings and your own judgment about that. Because if it's a skeptic, can you change their mind?
Right.
Even if you have, somebody, a full body apparition comes and walks up to them and serves them coffee, they will find a reason, if they're hardcore skeptics, they will find a reason not to believe that an apparition came up and served them coffee.
Yeah, of course.
So you can't, it's just like sometimes in this field, you kind of walk a line, and that's why I always say you got to be true to yourself.
Yeah. I think that, and yeah, true to yourself. I think Danelle and I, it may, I don't know if this sounds nice, but we're doing this for ourselves. It's actually about our journey.
Sure.
It's not just about getting something paranormal on camera for us. It's about learning what we can about the spiritual realm and the paranormal and like seeing where that brings us, and we're just basically inviting whoever wants to watch that to come along with us for the journey, whether they believe us or not. I don't care,
right.
Because we're doing it for us, and I think that will come through as well.
Yeah, I'd say like we're both really authentic and open people, and like we said right from the start, this isn't going to be a sensational thing. Like we are very just curious and want this sort of like healthy chaos in our life of like kind of like traveling to these locations and long filming days and the editing and stuff like that, and just I don't know, and also like Megan and I have been friends for I don't know how long, more than a decade, but we actually like spent kind of 7 years disconnected and then just reconnected recently around the holidays.
Yeah.
Like this past December. So
yeah,
it's been really cool to like collaborate on this project because like throughout those 7 years we like each started our own separate projects, and then when we reconnected we were like, let's work together.
Yeah, not expecting, Danelle had moved. There was no like crazy reason why we weren't connected, but Danelle was out of the country. I was in Canada, and we both were nerdy when we were younger. But when Danelle came back and we had a phone call and I said, what have you been doing for work? And Danelle told me, I've been writing some scripts for a paranormal YouTube channel. And then I told Danelle about the Curious Crypt, and it was just one of those synchronicities that I knew in my gut. I was like, we're supposed to do something together. I feel that. And Danelle has always been one of my favorite people. So I wouldn't, there's no one else I would rather do it with. So I think it's also been a journey about that for us, and learning about ourselves and learning how to have healthy chaos in our lives.
I like that. Healthy chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time I just have chaos, but I will strive for the healthy part for sure. And your joint venture is the Curious Crypt. Mm-hmm. And so be sure to follow them on social media. I also wanted to confess something. And once I do, when I say it, it's going to be kind of like, oh, really? You know what? I've never done a Ouija board.
Oh,
Well, tonight's the
tonight's your
night.
If you're interested.
Yeah.
Of course. I
Awesome.
wouldn't have brought it up. No, but seriously, I mean, there's kind of questions about a Ouija board,
Sure.
because you sit there and you have the planchard and and it moves, and then people, well, does it really move?
I know.
And it's just like, you know what? Do you have any fun in your life? Do you have any imagination? I mean, really, because it's like everything, no, that don't work. No, that doesn't.
Right,
And it's
yeah.
like, well, shit.
Yeah.
What do you do,
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's actually funny though, because Danelle has used Ouija boards before. I never have. I grew up Catholic, but my family is very much like, you will never bring a Ouija board into this house. If you use a Ouija board, you better get cleansed before you come over. Like, they're
Right.
very uncomfortable with it. So I kind of was talking to a friend about it last night, like about how I think I need to open up a little bit more, because I've been so I think I'm having a little bit of trouble with getting comfortable with the Ouija board. So tonight will be good for both of us.
Gotcha.
Yeah, why haven't you used one?
I don't know. I guess because I was raised Pentecostal.
Hmm.
Mm.
I was raised Catholic, but
Yeah.
that didn't stop me.
Well, yeah. But I don't know. And I think that's it, because, always you'll burn in hell. And, and I guess I've just kind of carried that part, like, I don't want to burn in hell, but, but of course I'll do it
Well,
tonight.
they told me that about being queer, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, me too.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Really excited about going on the investigation, and y'all have to stay tuned and be sure to watch the film when it's out. And we're also going to be joined by New Orleans psychic medium, the wonderful Carrie Roy, who's amazing, and it's going to be a great night.
So excited
I'm
to meet
super
her.
excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks
So
so much.
I appreciate y'all coming out all this way. Got your passport stamped to come to the suburbs
Yeah.
of New Orleans, and we're going in town, and I really appreciate it. Y'all be sure to check out the Queer Crypt and Stranger Than Usual, and of course the Curious Crypt. Appreciate you both. I can't wait to see everything and experience.
Yeah,
The
thank you so
craziness.
much for having us and
Oh, yeah.
and for helping us. Like, you're a huge talking to you. I mean, so many people of New Orleans said your name when I was looking for someone to reach out to.
Thank y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. So everybody have a good night, and you know what? I will see you next week. Good night.
Bye.